Hello, my name is Brett Jones, and I have the great honor of speaking to you tonight at the request of our friend, Dr. Brassfield. And man, don't we love him? He's a wonderful man, and thank you for the opportunity, Dr. Brassfield, to be able to speak to everyone. He and I went back and forth. I want to talk to you some about your education, continuing education, becoming a lifelong learner, how reading does that for me. Just kind of a simple subject, but kind of a dive into it from here. The third most viewed TED Talk, if you haven't watched those, I encourage you, is by Simon Sinek, and he is teaching something that is revolutionary. It really is a different way of thinking. He drew concentric circles, and the outside circle had the word what on it. The next circle had the word how on it, and the inner circle had the word why on it. And he says most people think outside in. What? We're going to build a computer. How? We're going to use the best products available. Why? I don't know. We're going to build one. And he said that's what most companies do. And he talked about Apple doing it exact opposite, that they started from the why. Why do we want to do this? And we make life better. We do things. They came up with all their reasons for the why, and then they did the how, and then they did the what. They're just a computer company, just like every other computer company, but they have a loyal following. No one sits outside of any other store I know of for 5 or 6 hours to get the next phone. But that's what they do there, because they sell a why. They start with the why. So my question here is, why would a minister continue to educate? Why does a pastor need to put his mind into more things and learn a few more things? What's the purpose there? Because we look at it, and for me, I've been pastoring the same church 35 years. The what is, hey, I got to get this done. I mean, I got a lot to do, man. Let's get it and go. And the how, I'm going to put all these appointments back to back to back to back, and we're just going to get it done. Woo! We're going to win. We're going to do this. And then I look at it, and sometimes I forget the why. It's just a checklist. It's just got it done, out of the way. How well? I don't know how well. I mean, the purpose, well, we just got to go. We can't stop. And I spend my time trying to do my job, and that's probably one of the least reasons people follow you. They can find people that do the job. It's looking for that pastor who works as hard on himself as he does at his job. To work as hard on the why we do it, and then go to the how and the what, figuring each of those out. It's like people who volunteer. They don't volunteer for the what. They volunteer because of the way it makes them feel. It makes me feel needed. It makes me feel great. It's not that they don't have anything else to do or that they didn't work 40 hours, but the why was bigger for them. I'm looking at you saying, let's look at that from our knowledge, from our reading, from our self-education side. What? If I look at the what do I do to further my knowledge? Well, for me, it varies probably for everybody, but for me, it's reading. It's being able to pick up books and to read them. So how do you further your knowledge? Well, the how for me is I do it through printed books, I do it through electronic books, and then I do it through audible books. So that's my medium that brings it to me. But the why I do it, the why of furthering my knowledge, that's the best of those three questions. By far the best of those three questions. Solomon said, a wise man will hear and increase in learning. That's what I'm looking for, to find that place where I am increasing in learning. I've been preaching more than 40 years. I hope that I sound better now than I did when I started. I hope I'm able to use the proper words. I hope when I was a kid preaching that I said sepulchre, and now I know it's sepulcher, from learning, from study, from hearing it, from finding out. We are here convincing people with our words that Jesus Christ is the Lord and he should be the Lord of their life. Therefore, we need a great vocabulary. We need to be able to speak, and that's why I read. I read to hear it. I read to see it. I read to understand it. Proverbs 18:15, the mind of the prudent acquires knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeks knowledge. Listen to that very clearly. Prudent people are acquiring knowledge. Now notice, you're not baptized with the knowledge, you are acquiring it. You're going after it, you're doing something with it. Reading gives us the tools to sequence words together properly. After you read, you'll learn. Irregardless is not a word. People say it all the time. It's regardless. It's not irregardless. There's no irregardless. You can't say that. But people that say, I could care less means you care. But if you want to master the language, I could not care less means there's no way I have any more in me that any care. It's gone. But saying it correctly, saying it the right way. Bill Bailey said, you will be exactly the same person 1 year from now, except for the books you read and the people you meet. Now, I don't remember every book I've read. I don't, not at all. I don't. But I don't remember every meal I've eaten either. I'm pretty sure that all of the meals have worked together to make me this svelte. You know, when I came on, you were thinking, oh my God, he used to be a bodybuilder, or maybe it was a butter builder. That's how I look. That's what I am. I've eaten. You can tell. I don't remember all those. The books, there's some that are stand out, but there's a lot of them that just left a deposit in me, and reading creates knowledge. Reading brings knowledge. Reading will give you the idea of understanding what was said and why it was said, and the nuance of language. Reading will teach you what sarcasm is. Reading will teach you what innuendo is. Reading will take you and move you down a road where you'll understand. You'll know, don't use the word further if you mean the word farther. And you have to look that up to understand that. You know, you can't say I'm further into this. And if you're trying to measure something, I'm further into this storm than I've ever been. The storm is moving further west. No, it's not. It's moving farther west, because that's a physical distance, and further. You can't say I'm getting farther in the word. I'm getting further in the word. So you understand. You have to read this. You have to understand this. You have to take this. So get a book. If you don't like to read, this is a good place to start. Start with something you like. Don't try to read War and Peace if you're not interested in something like that. The best way to cultivate your desire to read is to first read something that is interesting to you, something you enjoy. When I was a kid, we started reading Louis L'Amour books, and I read every one he had. And that was in the 8th and 9th grade, and I enjoyed them. And I enjoy now. I can pick one up, but you know by the end of the first chapter who the bad guy is, who the good guy is, and who gets the girl. But it's okay, because it helped me understand. It brought knowledge, and it gave me a context of knowing how to put things. When our children were small, we didn't pay them to do chores. You're going to do chores the rest of your life. We paid them to read. If they wanted something, they had so many books to read, and then they could get what they were looking for. I read biographies a lot because it gives me insight on leaders. I read good biographies, I read bad ones. By that I'm saying I read good people, I read bad people. I want to know, why was Hitler so bad? Why was Gandhi so good? I want to understand that. A man who won't read has placed himself in the same condition of a man who can't read. That's a heavy deal right there. So, how do I read? What do I do? Well, here's the book Dr. Brassfield has us reading right now. It's Spiritual Leadership. I've really enjoyed it. One thing I really enjoyed is I got the Audible. I've been listening to it as well. Now, this is what I do whenever I'm reading, study on this type deal. This is the chapter on reading that's in the book. And I take these sticky notes. This one happens to be the kind you use at a title company. It says sign here. I have the little arrows. And what I do is if I find something I like, I put that there. They don't stick hard enough to tear up the book. And then if I circle, if I underline, if I highlight, then I know where that is. So later, when that book is closed and on the shelf, and I don't remember where those thoughts came from, I'll look up and see that sticking there. I'll see that there, and I'll open it and find what I was talking about. Sometimes I make a note on it. Sometimes I highlight it. It helps me. That's how I study, and then can recall what I studied, find where I studied, find what I did with it, find how it worked. Winston Churchill had an aide that helped him with one of his speeches. And it's kind of long. Let me run through it though. This is what the aide the aide presented this to him. Here's the speech. We have before us a problem and it's a very heavy kind. We have before us many, many long months, and we will probably have some struggles, and there may even be some suffering by some. So you say, what is our policy? Our policy is to fight. We're going to fight on the sea. If we have to do that, we'll get our sailors. We're going to fight on the land, we'll get our soldiers. We fight in the air, we're going to get our airmen. And what we're going to do is we're going to go and ask God to help us and give us all that we can so we can go against Germany so they'll never, ever, ever do again to the world what they've done right now. We are going to go against them and tell them that they have done crimes and they should not do it. So that's our policy. You say, what is our aim? Our aim is, I can tell you, we want to win. We're going to win. We're going to do the best we can, and God's going to help us. That's what he gave Mr. Churchill. Mr. Churchill's a wordsmith. This is filled with power words. This is what he said. We have before us an ordeal of the most grievous kind. We have before us many, many long months of struggle and of suffering. You ask, what is our policy? I can say it is to wage war by sea, land, and air with all our might and with all the strength that God can give us. To wage war against a monstrous tyranny never surpassed in the dark, lamentable catalog of human crime. That's powerful. That is our policy. You ask, what is our aim? I can answer in one word. It's victory. Victory at all costs, victory in spite of terror, victory however long, however hard the road may be, for without victory, there is no survival. Listen to the difference of having a command of language, of knowing the words, of being able to speak, be able to say. Now let's bring it to a much closer example. How do you think it would have gone if Martin Luther King Jr. would have stood at the mall in Washington and said, I have a plan. We're going to desegregate. No. People don't follow you for your plan. He looked at him and said, I have a dream. That stirs something because it could be something that everybody could have. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Boom. Saying it right, saying it strong, saying it powerful. So let me tell you, you need to self-educate. You need to put your mind to it, put your heart to it. Start with what you need to that may be harder or whatever, but if it's harder, go to something that you enjoy. Start there. I would tell you there are 5 benefits of being a lifelong learner. I'll give them to you quickly. Number 1, reading will help you remain relevant. As you age, relevancy is something you'll fight. And if you read, you can stay on it. Don't be left behind. Be a reader. Number 2, reading helps you prepare for the unexpected. You can't know exactly what's going to happen, but reading can tell you, I've got to get my stuff together because this could happen, and it gives you a hope as to what to do next. Number 3, reading will result in a competence which leads to confidence. If you're competent, you say, not sure how we're going to get through this, but I am sure we will get through this because you have something of substance. You're not just going with your feelings. You're not just going with willy-nilly, every wind. You've got something in you that you're standing strong by. Number 4, reading sparks new ideas. When you read, you get to hear that guy. You get to hear that guy. You hear that lady. You get all these thoughts, and then you're praying and God's bringing up your own ideas and it sparks within you. And number 5, reading will change your perspective. After you read, you may look at some of the things that you said, this is absolute and concrete, and you may chip it out. And you may say, no, that's not as concrete as I thought it was, or it's concrete and I shouldn't have poured concrete there. I know I had to look at things that I said were things that were not able to even be questioned. And I had to go back after I read and understand and learned, and I had to do that. So here's a way to start. Number 1, buy, borrow, or rent. You can do all that online. Get an electronic device, use it on your phone, whatever you need to do, but get you a book that you would be interested in. You can borrow them. You don't have to pay for those. If you just Google it, look, you'll find it. And you or rent the thing or buy it. I buy them because I want them. And then secondly, if you buy it, often you can add the Audible version to it. The good part of that is you're reading it at home. You're on page 48. You get in your vehicle. You plug your phone in. It begins to read from page 48, and you drive an hour and a half, and it reads you all the way to page 100. And you get back to your house and go inside, and you open your reader. It's going to go to page 100, and you're able to hear it, and you're able to live it, and you're able to believe it and see it. And I'm fine. Listen to a novel if you don't like that. Listen to something that you enjoy, and let the words move through you and understand that I don't know that and I want to know that. And then third, I'll tell you, share it. If you talk it, it'll stay alive. Share it. Spend time with it. Talk to the others. This is what Solomon told us. Give instruction, he said. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be still wiser. Wow. I'm wise, but I can get wiser. That's what he said. Teach a righteous man, and he will increase his learning. I'm interested in a bigger, better, wider, more read, literate you. That's what God's interested in. Dr. Brassfield, thank you for the opportunity to talk to such an august body. I hope each of you are blessed in all that you do.